Oh, what is up, you damn plebeians? It's Neil with the Balding Plebs, and I'm joined here tonight by the Monster Hunter boys. Ladies and gentlemen, first and foremost, I have to introduce him. It's Mr. Smash himself, Jaws. Jaws, great to have you back. Jordan, what's going on?
Doing good, man. Doing good.
Hey, Jaws, why don't you tell us all how you first got into Monster Hunter?
I actually got into Monster Hunter World was actually my first ever game ever played. I got into it because I saw Neo's reactions and J-Dog's reactions on the Elder Dragons trailer. Like, man, this game looks pretty good. I might try it out.
I thought that was
So
funny.
I
I
decided to
was
try it out.
about you and about
hmm
130,000 other people
Yeah,
saw that. So I
some
thought
other
that was
people,
pretty
yeah.
cool. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
I
yeah,
was
yeah.
like the 330th subscriber or something like that on your channel.
Nice. Oh my god, dude, that is wild, bro. That is
hmm
wild. All right, ladies and gentlemen, moving right along. Introducing Hawk Every. What's going on, Hawk? Great to have you back again. How did you get yourself into Monster Hunter?
Hey, I started Monster Hunter watching Monster Hunter Try 3 Ultimate videos, and I fell in love instantly and got my hands on Try for the Wii, and I've played every game since.
Very, very cool, very cool. And of course, joining us tonight is a new member of the Monster Hunter Boys, Sammy. Sammy, great to have you here. What was your first introduction to the Monster Hunter series?
It was Ox, honestly. I'll be a little honest. If it wasn't for him helping me throughout like Generation, Rise, and World for the first time, I wouldn't be here. It's just it wasn't a game that before Ox. I didn't even know it was a game. Like I saw Rathalos in Super Smash Bros. As a boss, and I didn't even connect it to the Monster Hunter games.
Very,
So
very, very, very cool. Awesome, awesome. And actually, Sammy, I want to come back to your story in a minute because I think it's really, really important with Monster Hunter in general, some of the things you just said. But moving right along, ladies and gentlemen, he's the man, the myth, the legend, Briarios. Great to have you back, the Veggie Elder himself. Briarios, what's going on? What was your first experience with Monster Hunter? Lay it on us.
I was there 20 years ago, day one. It was a morning mist, and I walked out through the valley. It's time to hunt. PlayStation 2. Nice to be here.
So for people that maybe don't know you as well as some of us do, you've basically been in Monster Hunter since the beginning. I myself have the PS2 version and everything. I got my first introduction to it with Freedom and Freedom Unite on the PSP. But what when you look at Monster Hunter as a series, Briarios, if I can just pick your brain for a second, and then guys, we're going to get into kind of a roundtable discussion on a few different topics. But if I can just pick your brain for a second, what would you say is the best part about the Monster Hunter franchise for you?
The best part is challenging you to think versus react when you're fighting against monsters because the whole lure was you're going after this massive monster. They didn't tell you what to do, didn't tell you how to do it. They just give you a broken sword and no money, no resources, and you had to figure it out yourself. All the tools were there. You had to discover them on your own, and that was the lure of the game.
Absolutely. And, I remember those days from back in the beginning. I think I might have told this story before to some of you guys. When I first played Freedom and Freedom Unite, I didn't even know how to upgrade my armor. I never figured that out. And I couldn't figure out why Tigrex was one-shotting me. And I couldn't figure out why I couldn't do enough damage to kill some of these guys. And one day, I figured out how to upgrade armor. And that was the day I told my brother, hey, you should get a PSP and Freedom Unite. We can play together. I think we'll have some fun. And then it evolved from there, like 150 hours. And then we went to 3U and 4 and Generation. It just kept going and it spiraled and spiraled. And eventually it led us to Monster Hunter World. But Sammy, I want to take a step back to what you said previously. And Briarios, obviously, I'm going to invite you to share some things here if you want to add a little bit of knowledge to this, because Monster Hunter, at its core, is obviously a game about fighting massive monsters and rinse, wash, repeat, creating armor sets, weapon sets, knocking off these big guys and going and tackling the next monster. But you made a really good point when I asked you what your introduction to the series was, and you said Hawk. Am I right?
Yes.
So to me, that in and of itself is one of the coolest parts of the Monster Hunter franchise. Is I think it brings people together and we play it together, and it's like a group experience, right? And I thought that was really cool when you said that. That really got me, because I know, Briarios, you're always talking about helping other players and helping, I say inexperienced players, not disrespectfully, but I say it more like newer players, right? And you're always talking about that, Briarios. Shed some light on that. Add something to that for us.
Well, when I first started Monster Hunter, internet wasn't as advanced as it was. You needed DSL, high-speed internet to play, and I had dial-up at the time. So when I got it, I played the original Monster Hunter solo for a complete year with no help from anybody, from start to finish. And when I finally got online access, you were able to get into lobbies, 100-player lobbies, just like we have now. And they had veterans, novice lobbies. But I chose to go on a novice lobby, and there were 100 rooms. And I picked the last room, and I was the only one there to go online because I didn't want to bother other players. And out of nowhere, this high rank hunter came in with Fatalis gear and asked me why I was here by myself. And he started to help me. And we would go on quests online, and he would show me different things that you can do. And just from that interaction of just seeing this person come in and just help me, that's when I got the bug. It's like, man, this dude is awesome. And I've been doing it ever since. And that's the community of Monster Hunter.
I think that's a really cool experience, and I think it's a great tie-in with Sammy's story. And now, Jaws, you also shared something with us talking about how you saw our reactions, you saw our hype for it, right? And that kind of got you excited for what you were saying. Hey, I'm going to give this game a chance. Well, sometimes you see YouTubers talk about games, right? And you see them getting all hyped and excited. And then you play the game and you're just like, oh man, that wasn't really as fun as I thought it was gonna be. But I've seen you put so many hours into the game, and I've seen you do different creative fights with monsters, whether it was the classic no armor tempered Devil Joe fights or some of the other fights that you've done in the past. I've seen you do all these different things. So, I mean, you clearly gained an affinity for this game. Give me your thoughts now as we go into Wilds. What experience are you hoping to have with Monster Hunter Wilds?
I think sort of almost the same, sort of, but better in a way. Way better, with better features, better systems. Like, I surprised how good I got pretty quick. I was like, why am I getting this good already? But to this franchise, but when you get to the higher monsters like Fatalis, and then they start kicking your ass and stuff like that. But yeah, I'm hoping to see what Wilds will do on that. I hope it makes it way better, way more better experiences. And yeah, I'm really excited to see how it plays.
Oh, excellent. And of course, Hawk, you and I have been playing together for quite a while now. And I mean, I just know there's 2 people on my list, 3 people, a couple people on my list of people to call when I need somebody to smash a monster with me. Jaws, Hawk, Briarios, and of course, probably Sammy at some point here in the near future. But Hawk, I know that you really have been honing your skills, fine-tuning your skills. Let me ask you something about the beta and the experience we've had with Monster Hunter Wilds. I know I'm going hard tonight, guys. I apologize in advance, but You know, the Hype Night has always been special to us because that was how we really launched our channel. So I just figured it was appropriate kind of to have this as a cool callback. And Hawk, I'm glad you pushed for Hype Night. If it wasn't for you, I'll be honest, we may not have this tonight. So big shout out to Hawk, first of all. But my question is, as we go into Monster Hunter Wilds, you know, you've put hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and more hours, you and Briarios, into Monster Hunter World. What is gonna be, do you think, what is gonna be the thing, the aspect, the monster, the hunt, or the replayability or the loop or whatever it is? What is gonna be the thing for you that gets you to come back and play Wilds over and over and over and over again?
Well, there's the different weapon combos to try every single weapon in the game. As for hunting, like, we've got, what, up to, like, 12 large monsters being able to be in the same area at once. And with, depending on how many monsters are on the roster, that can make every single hunt, every single game, every single save completely different on every single playthrough.
Yeah, you make a great point there, and I really like that. And that was one thing that, yes, Monster Hunter World had so much, but it always felt like there was maybe that one thing missing. And when I saw that we could switch weapons and have these different weapon combos and just the added mobility that we're getting with Wilds, that was a big thing for me. That was a, hey, wait a minute now. This adds a whole nother layer of strategy and accessibility to this game that we maybe haven't had before. So, great point. I think you make an awesome point there. And I think to anybody wondering if they should get this game, I think this is definitely the video they're going to want to watch. Now, Briarios, Mr. Veggie Elder, you threw us some topics. And you made a nice little list for us here pre-stream tonight. So we're going to start off with post-beta thoughts. And I'm going to go right down the line. I'm going to start with Jaws. I'm going to go to Hawk. I'm going to go to Sammy. And I'm going to go to Briarios. I want to get your guys' thoughts on what we experienced. Before, Sammy, did you play the beta?
Yes.
Okay, I just want to make sure you did before I put you on, before I put you on blast. And I don't want to, I don't want to do that to you. But what I want to do is I want to get everybody's thoughts post-beta and just see what your overall impression and experience has been with the game so far. And actually, Hawk, I'm going to have you lead on this one. Jaws, I'm going to go to you second, if that's okay.
Yep.
Okay. Post beta, like, the beta gave us a lot of basic understanding of how the game will work, as we'll have random monsters appearing at different times. We'll have weather changing at different times as well. And I'm really just excited to just see how full of different monsters the maps can get.
I do have to say this. One thing that I've always noticed about you, Hawk, is you are always very excited to get in and get the experience. And I really like that about you. I like your attitude, and I like how deep you go into this game. It is something that Monster Hunter does to some players. You look at like Briarios' tens of thousands of hours. I look at your thousands of hours. I mean, it pulls you in, it sucks you in, and it makes you want more. And I really love that. That's so awesome. Jaws.
Yeah, I'm an addict.
Yeah, well, that's okay. The first step to recover is admitting you have a problem. Jaws, lay it on us, man. What were your thoughts after getting your hands on this beta?
Well, I played a lot of the first beta. I think like 20 hours. I think I liked it. Like the environments they showed us in the beta. Like the end quest immediately. Probably my favorite feature. And all the different types of monsters, like Hawk said, weather environments, all this different shapes of the environment, and all this there's so much into the game. Like I'm just can't wait for the full game. Very excited to pour hundreds and hundreds of hours into the game. Ready to get my hands dirty. I just can't wait.
You know, one question I have for you, Jaws, is do you think the Super Smash Brothers are going to make a return?
Hell yeah.
All
We'll
right.
smash everything up.
All right, Sammy, lay it on us. Give us your thoughts post beta. What did you think? Because I know you've played some of the other Monster Hunter games recently with us, and I'd like to get your thoughts just as kind of a newer player. What was your experience with the beta?
Well, I think Wilds for the beta was really good, though I was kind of hoping a bit more for the second beta. Especially when they talked about the different changes they'll do for the weapon, I was disappointed to see that they didn't add those for the beta. Though I understand why they didn't, I still find it a bit lackluster, I think the term would be. But overall, I'd say the beta is a good understanding of how the game will be and the different basic mechanics, like you said, about like just cooking, the way you interact with the environment, the way the environment interacts with the monsters and everything. It is just already complete for the beta, so I wonder how far the game will be on that aspect.
The one thing that I've always enjoyed about the Monster Hunter betas, and I know we got betas for the first game too, or for I'm sorry for World as well, and I know we got betas for that. Was my enjoyment of it was if you played that and you said, yes, I like this. Yes, this is good. Yes, I could play this for 100 hours. You could feel pretty safe about buying the full game on release. You didn't really have to feel bad about that. So I feel like the betas were a good cross section of what the game has to offer. But I'm with you. I hope on full release, I hope we really are. You know, I hope this is a very pleasing experience. I hope it's a solid experience too, Sammy. I appreciate your thoughts. Thank you. Briarios, thoughts post beta. Give it to me.
Okay. 20 years ago,
Jesus Christ.
when I played the original Monster Hunter, you came out of the camp, and the first thing you seen was forest and hills. It panned all the Aptonauts, and you looked across the valley, and you seen some other Aptonauts, but you couldn't go there. You just could look at it. And the first thought you said, boy, I wish I could go there. Firing up the beta for Monster Hunter Wilds, when I stepped out into the valley, I saw that vision that I saw 20 years ago. They did it. There were over 50 to 80 monsters in your visual field that has never been done in a Monster Hunter game. And I knew that they were on to the right track. And people don't understand how much Capcom has pushed this franchise forward, because other Monster Hunters, when you played, you had your main monster, maybe you had a turf war, but you always had three little small monsters in a corner cowering, and maybe by 2 or 3 other monsters running out of the zone. Here you have 50 at any given time, not even counting the birds flying and the little small pandemic light. That is a lot of action going on the scene. And for somebody coming in that's new, it's going to be overwhelming. And for the first time in my Monster Hunter journey, I had to rethink my tactics. You going in with 2 weapons, you got a large open map, you got little pop-up camps. It's a whole new game, and I'm looking forward to it.
I've got to give a shout out to Hawk for being incredibly patient with me when we played the beta, because as somebody even with 550 hours of experience in Monster Hunter World, I still, when I got into the Wilds beta, you could spend probably 10 hours just mastering the menus, just mastering the different options for things that you have to do, customization, getting your link party together, making sure you're all in like the same lobbies, your link lobby or whatever it is. And I got to give a big shout out to Hawk for being incredibly patient with me and working with me and helping me learn that stuff and get through that stuff. Because even as a Monster Hunter, I consider myself a veteran. Even as a Monster Hunter veteran, I mean, it was a lot to take in and it was a lot to get used to at first. So, got to give a shout out for that. And that was something I noticed too. Is there were moments where I was like, okay, I got to take a moment here when whenever I do get into the game, I got to take a moment here and I got to learn these menus.
Yeah, the Wilds beta menus were very confusing if you would just look at it compared to how it was in World.
It was, and I think scary is absolutely the word to describe it, because there were times where I was just like, how do you do this? Like, and then I'm like, well, how do you know how to do this? And they're like, I mean,
Huh?
yeah, that's exactly how I felt. That is exactly how I felt. So,
And that's Capcom's strategy from day one. They give you all the tools. You just gotta find it and use it. It's like, hey, you want a game? Here it is.
absolutely. So let's talk about this. Hawk? What do you expect from Wilds overall?
I expect a roster similar to World, maybe a little bit smaller, just because they increased the monster cap on the maps. The maps are like quadruple the size that they were in World, and they have different endgame mechanics that change up the monsters a bit. So I would be fine with a little bit of a smaller roster.
Jaws,
As long as...
Oops, I'm sorry.
Well,
I'm sorry. Hawk,
you're
I'm
good. As long as all the maps are more perfectly balanced with their rosters, unlike how the Coral Highlands had 5 monsters in base game, and the Rotten Vale only had 4.
Jaws, what do you expect from the? What do you expect experience-wise and everything from Wilds?
I expect it to be, of course, better than World, but who knows if it'll be better than World or not. But I'll be excited to see what they will do, how he'll play, how the weapons will feel now with the new moves and stuff like that. How big the environments are now, like different, like 6 biomes or something like that. I don't know how much biomes they'll have. So many exploration, exploring. I'm very excited to explore everywhere. So
I'm with
very excited.
And that was something
To
that
play.
I even noticed as I was playing the beta a little bit. I got kind of off track one time, and there was this whole area that I went to that I didn't even know was available. And I thought that was so cool. And I mean, I realized, we'll try exploring once. You try exploring for once, but I thought that was really neat how some of the game just has this ability to surprise you sometimes. I think that's really cool. And that is something that I'm looking forward to as well. The sense of discovery and wonder in Monster Hunter has always been really good. I want to bring it over to Sammy for a second here. Sammy, what are you expecting from the full release here when you get into the game? Are you basically expecting a copy and paste, or are you kind of looking for, maybe that next level Monster Hunter experience? And then just give us your general thoughts on what you're expecting as well.
Well, of course, I don't have the same background as you. I only played 3 games, and I never was there for a launch of the game. I always arrived later. So I don't know what to expect for a day one Monster Hunter game. Like when I started World, Iceborne was already done. There was already the events all done. When I started Rise, it was the same. So I don't know what to expect how the game will come out. Like with the title update. So I am not sure what I'm expecting for the Monster Hunter Day One. I don't want to put it the same weight as I had when I started World because, as I said, I started World way after, like the main thing was finished. Like I started like 4 years after, uh, like 4 or 5 years after it came out. So I don't want to put too much expectation that it will maybe eventually reach with the title updates too soon at least.
Sammy, I think that's really smart that you have kind of tempered expectations because even myself, when I went back and picked up World again, I hadn't yet beaten Fatalis, so of course I'm going through some of these quests that I had done years ago, and I was just I as you say that, you know, you came on after all the events were over and after all these things were done already. And as I kind of look at that, I'm like, you know, as a new player, if I picked up World right now, holy cow, that you talk about bang for your buck. I mean, it's just there's so much variety and there's so much that you can do and there's so many different fun things that you can experience, like quest variety wise. I think it's really awesome with some of the crossovers they did and some of the other, like the event style quests that they did. So I think you're really smart in how you're approaching this with that kind of tempered expectation. Like, hey, I'm going to be here on day one. I got to know that we're going to have title updates coming. Yeah, they're going to introduce new monsters. On day one, there might not be, you know, 40 monsters or whatever it is. But by the time this game is fully fleshed out, and when I say fleshed out, I mean we have all the title updates, we have all the events, we have all the special stuff. You know, I got to know we're going to have a significantly larger game than we have probably on day one. I think that's really smart, Sammy. And I think that's really cool that you're approaching it that way. Really, really awesome, actually. Very cool.
Thanks.
Briarios, what do you expect?
Well,
Don't tell me it was 20 years ago.
the thing with the Monster Hunter franchise, the way I approach it is, you basically take on the hunting style of each village. So every time a new game came out, there was always some type of culture within the village that you adapted to your hunting style. You know, like when in Worlds we had the Clutch Claw Rise, you had the Palamutes, and now we have the Secret. So you always adapt into the hunting style of that village or part of your story. So what I'm looking forward to is the new pathways they take with the game, and changing it over time to see what works, see what doesn't work. So they took the best of what the franchise has been and it's culminated into one. And I just want to be there for that adventure. But looking forward to uh, the new monsters that they're bringing back, that they're introducing. Plus, being that they're talking about Arkvale being an extinct monster, how much of the older monsters they will bring back from the series that nobody hadn't seen. So I'm looking forward for that.
You know, one thing, you have this on here for topics tonight, Briarios. I'm going to let you touch on it a little bit just because I'm not going to go round robin with this one. But Capcom marketing. And I think one of the best pieces of marketing for Monster Hunter games is players. Yeah, they have TV advertisements. They have, you know, like YouTube trailers, which obviously, you know, even Jaws, you said, you know, hey, I found you guys reacting to the Elder Dragons trailer, you know, all that great stuff and everything. But, you know, that's one thing about the Monster Hunter community where it's like, oh, you know, I play Monster Hunter. It's a game where you get together with your buddies, or you play solo, or you can join a crew online and you go fight giant monsters and make armor and weapons and go beat up bigger monsters. You know, I feel like other Monster Hunter players in the community is literally one of the best pieces of advertising and marketing for Capcom. I mean, look at the YouTuber reactions. Even look at like Dear Gamer. Look at like Eric's Gaming. Look at all these different YouTubers that do like weapon breakdowns, monster breakdowns, environment breakdowns, trailer breakdowns. I feel like YouTubers and players in general, if it's up to me, if it's my dollar, I feel like those are some of the best sources of marketing for a Monster Hunter game on the face of the earth. Anybody can chime in, you guys. Give your thoughts.
My thing is the developers going on stage and actually playing their product. Who does that?
Very few.
I mean, hey, look, here's our game. Watch us play it. Look what we're doing. It's like normally they have somebody who practice a run so they could show you how the game is. Here's some actual gameplay footage. It's all staged. He's practiced the runs. These guys just go out there and let the game speak for itself. Nobody's doing that no more.
They also do whenever they hold like gaming stands. They also are the like only directors that actually watch players actually play their game.
And actually walk around and talk to the players and people as well.
Yeah,
Rarely.
that was something about Monster Hunter in the early days, and that was something about like when we first started reacting to World, and I started noticing them doing that with like those on-stage showcases and stuff, because they were doing some of that stuff with World too. And I remember seeing that and thinking, man, how come more people aren't like? How come more developers aren't doing this? You know what I mean? To actually see the people who are making the game playing the game is really cool, because I feel like those are the people who can explain it and showcase it the best, right? And what a better way to do it than with a live in-person demo. And I thought that was really neat when they were showing off those different fights. They would go and explore, or they would pull a monster into the fight with them. They would go and get an angry monster to follow them back. I think that's awesome, and it just showcases the variety of the game. That's something I really liked. What else we want to talk about tonight, Briaris? What else you got for us? You had some pre-launch tips. So what would be if you have new players in chat, or to any of us watching here at home tonight, give me some of your pre-launch tips. And of course, Hawk, Jaws, Sammy, if you guys have anything you want to add, obviously feel free to chime in and add.
Well, I'm a new player, so go ahead.
Menus. Menus. Customize your menus and learn to use your item wheel early.
Indeed.
That is key. Once you customize your menu, your game will flow much better to your needs. Like, I don't play with damage numbers, so I cut that off. I don't play with silhouette, so I cut that off. So any way that'll makes the game enjoyable for you, it's all in the menus. The stuff that you may hate, it's in the menus. You can change them. Whenever you're picking weapons, 3-weapon tip, blocking weapon, range weapon, and your favorite. If you cover those 3, you can master any monster in the game. And prep. Gather your resources. Don't neglect that. Don't be like Dio going in the battle with 4 potions, grabbing herbs, trying to drink a little something. You see you're struggling, you gotta hit him a life powder, but that's just the bad at the beginning, but just throwing a little shade on that.
That's definitely something tech.
Also, check your controls. With Wilds, the secret changes your entire D-pad, so you can't use it to change your items, but they did add a extended item bar so you can see all your items at once and direct your cursor to whatever item you want.
I thought it was really interesting that you guys mentioned the item wheel, because when I was first playing World, that was a new feature, and that was kind of a feature that I turned my nose up at first. I turned my nose up to that at first because I was like, oh, I'm never going to use this. This is stupid. And then I started using the bow guns, and I started needing to combine things on the fly. And when that happened, I immediately was like, oh, this is why this is so useful. Oh, I need to get a life powder right now. oh, this is why this is so useful. So, as somebody who experienced the full cycle of discovering the item wheel, rejecting the item wheel, and then falling in love with the item wheel, I can back up what you guys are saying, that it's very important to learn that early, because that is a very, very important part of the game. I didn't use it as much during the beta just because I'm not going to do a bunch of that prep for basically a demo. But once we get to the full game, I see myself really hammering down on that and making sure I'm on top of that.
And it might not be a big tip for players, but like if you're not sure what weapon you want to use, I don't know how the first quest will be like when you are free to roam around the desert. But like just try to pick a weapon, or pick two, try them before you lock in your weapons, because especially if you already have your beta set that you want to use for the main game, the weapon change can impact a lot, like depending on the nerf and buff that they received. So just test the weapon first before locking in your choice for the first playthrough.
Yep.
Yeah,
Grab
really.
weapons, fight the
I
easiest
got
monster, and test everything out.
Yeah,
Yeah. Also, a good tip is to whenever you go in gathering, bring a weapon you never used before. If and you could shoot at the little smaller monsters and whatnot. Don't try and start a new weapon late in the game. Because then that's going to be kind of tough.
Well, actually,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think it's really smart that you guys mentioned that, right? What a better way to practice with a weapon than to go and hunt the basic monsters, right? Like even the Chatacabra, I mean, sure, can be difficult, but if you're gonna practice a new weapon and you want to see, hey, can I actually hold my own against a monster that's trying to kill me? That's a great monster to test out, like a hunting horn or a charge blade or some of these other weapons that have really advanced mechanics if you haven't mastered them. So I actually think that's really smart commentary, guys. And I think to any young players, when I say young players, any inexperienced players, I think it's a really great way to get better with all of the weapons very quickly.
You can also do Rathian too. She's one of the easiest monsters ever. You can learn almost any weapon with her. Indeed.
Brarios, what else you got for us? Give us another topic here before we close it out for the night.
What we're going to see in expansion wise, I already have an idea of what the master rank version will be. It's a ways off, but being that they're going into the wilds, an unknown region, they're going against extinct monsters, Arkvale, that they thought was extinct. And it's going and they're discovering new villages and new people in the region. So I think they're leaning toward lost civilization.
Now, before we go any further,
And
I just want to say this is speculation and opinion and not based on any necessarily facts, correct?
yes,
Okay, I just want to make
yes,
sure I got that out
yes.
there so,
No, it's true.
And
Chat.
I'm not even going to mention what I think the next DLC name is going to be because I don't want to get into that. I'll talk to y'all afterwards. But
Briarios
it's
has been known to accurately predict these things. He says he doesn't work for Capcom. He told me what he does
think
for
he does,
his
though.
real job. I think it was a lie. I think he actually does work for Capcom.
no, I don't. I
Yes,
just
you do.
know I just know the vibe on what they do.
Start
And
speaking full on Japanese.
But yes, all I know is just buckle up and get prepared. Wilds is just practice
Yeah.
for you
Once
to
Master
get
Rank
good
comes.
because once they unleash the real hunting, you're gonna have to. It's gonna be nothing nice.
Yeah, I remember the initial kind of like jump when we first went from world to Iceborne. I mean, that was crazy.
That's what I was thinking too.
The first, like when you first made the difficulty jump, you know, everybody always talks about, oh, I'm so good, I never noticed it, blah blah blah. Okay, great, good for you. But you know, that very first difficulty jump, when we first started getting some of those new master rank monsters and stuff, I mean, that was a significant, nice step up. And for the veteran players, I think it was a nice change of pace too.
Especially the
A
moves
lot.
too.
Yeah, a lot of people was comparing all the weapons and different moves and saying, "Oh, this weapon is OP." Yes, yeah, they're powerful, but you're fighting against low rank monsters. But the question is, why are those moves powerful? Because later on down the road, you're gonna be fighting some vicious monsters. And that's what you have to. That's how you have to look at it. Is OP when you're fighting against something low, but why did they did make it OP? Because you're going to be needing that later on.
Do you guys remember fighting Great Jagras and being able to kill Great Jagras in like a minute and a half?
Boom, boom.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like you guys remember that feeling, right? And then you know, you go fight like you went from like low rank to like a high rank or even like a master rank. Great Jagras, for example. I mean, like the health significantly higher, right? The experience significantly higher. But then, you know, you go to some of those higher rank and master rank, harder, more difficult monsters. And it's like sometimes you find yourself in there for 10, 15, 20, 30 minutes. And I mean, those are real tests of focus and like commitment to the product. Like that is just, I mean, those are crazy fights.
Just to add that, anyone remember Karen?
Yeah,
Yes.
it's pretty easy.
I remember Neo's no armor Karen once.
Hey, I did it though, didn't I? I did.
You
the
did
regular,
it, yeah.
I did regular Kieran.
Yeah.
My Little Pony was lighting people up.
Mastering Karen too. Gee.
Yeah,
I never really had a problem with Kieran.
Hawk, you don't have a problem with any of the monsters.
Eh, new monsters that I haven't learned yet. Which is going to be main walls for most people in Wilds is the new monsters and the new moves.
Yeah, and I'm actually just watching a trailer here right now on Steam, and I do love some of the monster variety, and I think that's something that's really cool about Monster Hunter series in general. And actually, I do want to turn it over to just Sammy for just a second. You know, Sammy, I've got years and years and years in Monster Hunter. Briario's years and years and years in Monster Hunter. The other guys here, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of hours. And you kind of came on board recently. What are your thoughts about the monster variety and just the different kind of like styles that they present in the Monster Hunter series?
Well, at first I thought that like there wasn't that many because I played like Bit of World and Rise, so I only had the Gen 5. But when I got back in more like Generation Ultimate, and when I watched the videos of like people ranking monsters, that's when I realized there's like hundreds of monsters different. That they're all unique, even if some share moves. And it was like there are so many unique frames, so many unique attacks, so many unique just style of monsters in general. That uh, that's something like I feel like is amazing from Capcom and the Monster Hunter team. They are able to go so far with their ideas for the monsters. They're able to execute them really well and make it make sense as well in a more ecological term, in a more ecological way. Uh, it's it's just something that I appreciate of them, and that they do add more of the natural aspect of Monster Hunter. It doesn't feel like a video game like Pokemon does. It's really much like you enter a new world where you're just in it. Everything are like kind of logical, so it's really fun.
Awesome. Excellent. Really, really cool. Very cool, awesome take actually, and really cool to hear kind of I would say newer players just thoughts on it in general. Really like that. Briarios, you got anything else for us tonight? You got anything else you think we should touch on while we're here?
I think we pretty much touched on everything. A lot of times whenever you play new games, is a steep learning curve, but once you get the hang of everything, it's pretty much good. But the one thing about Monster Hunter franchise in general, it's a co-op game. It's helping each other. Out of all the gaming industry and a lot of the PvP, where people playing against each other, they were the first to do it, to make a game where you played with friends and helped others and made new friends. And being that it's being released globally to everyone all at once, you don't have to wait for it to come out in Japan and then a year later come out in the West. It's coming out simultaneously. That's a big plus. So it's Monster Hunter community is pretty large, and I hope we have new players that join the franchise.
Yeah, I agree with you, and I think that's actually a really, really great point. And as we get ready to bring it together tonight, I want to get everybody's final thoughts on Wilds one last time here before I end the stream tonight. So, Jaws, I'm going to turn it over to you. Give me your final thoughts, final words as we go into the Monster Hunter Wilds launch.
Like I said, can't wait to play this game. I actually like how they brought a lot of the world's features in, like Tempered Monsters returning. It's got their own spinoff of like what is it called, Hawk? Apex Monsters? What are they called?
You mean Frenzied Monsters?
Yeah, Frenzied, whatever that is.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very excited. The decoration farming kind of returns as well. Of course, sometimes it takes a while to get your decorations, but I'm really excited about the environments, about exploring all over the place, just hunting all these monsters, doing everything, all the side quests, and all this, learning all these new moves on all these weapons, offset attacks, clashes, all this awesome stuff, and I just can't wait to play it. Really can't wait.
Hawk, your final thoughts going into the launch?
I'm interested in seeing the decoration system and how decorations are now separated between armor and weapon decoration, along with all the customization options that we will have for our camps and secrets. Surprisingly, I'm kind of more excited about customizing my camp more than fighting tempered monsters and endgame monsters.
Sammy, going into launch, give me your final thoughts.
I'm disappointed. I'll have to wait because I have work that day when it launched. So, but in general, I just can't wait to be part of there's a new generation that starts, and I'm there for it. It's just a feeling that I've never had with any other community, any other game. I've always been late to the community, but now I'm there with everyone waiting for the game to launch in 20. I don't remember when, but like soon. I'm
Like
there with
25
like
and a half.
That's
I'm there with like the millions around the globe waiting.
that's a
So,
that is a
it's a
really
unique
cool
feeling.
That is a really cool feeling. And I remember when World was coming out, my brother and I, and some of our other friends as well, and some people that we had met in like the comments of our reactions and stuff, and the comments of some of our videos, had the exact same experience. And I think it's really cool to see a new member of the community's reaction to that and see them have that same experience. The way you articulated that and the way you brought that, I think that is so cool. That's awesome, Sammy. Very, very cool. Briarios, your thoughts going into launch, your final thoughts as we wrap it up tonight.
Well,
I'll say it.
going in,
Do not
I
say
have some
20
new
years ago,
friends.
I swear to God.
Going in, yeah, old buddy. But I have some friends that's new to the franchise that I'm gonna be introducing, so I'll be in training mode, getting them through, walking them through, having them set up their menu, and just letting them loose on the game. I'm excited to watch them enjoy the game that I enjoy.
And of course, when I do finally pick up the game and get into it, you are promising to carry me, correct?
Yes, you'll be right on the
No.
back of my secret.
I'll be
do it.
okay.
Don't
I'll
do
be
it, bro.
Yes,
Okay.
I'll get a booster seat too.
Okay, yeah, make sure because I want to be able to see over you. I know you're a relatively tall dude. Well, first of all, I want to take a moment to personally thank Hawk Every, Jaws, Sammy, and Briarios for taking time out of their day, time out of their night to come on and be part of the Monster Hunter Wilds Hype Night. First of all, Hawk, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Jaws, I really appreciate it. Again, thank you, Jordan, for being a part of this. It's great to have you, and it's awesome to be able to reconnect again with you through a new Monster Hunter game.
For sure.
Sammy, it's been awesome to have you here tonight, and I think you share some really great perspectives on the Monster Hunter, not only the series, but as well as the actual experience of going into a new Monster Hunter game. So, Sammy, it's great to have you here tonight for the live stream. Thank you so much for joining.
It's great to be here.
And of course, Briarios, you know how I feel. You are one of, probably my dearest internet friends, and I've been privileged to have you as a friend for years now, and it's been awesome to have you and your knowledge. And it's always great to have your sense of you include everybody when we do these kind of things, and it's such a great experience to have you. Briarios, thank you again for joining us.
Oh, thank you. You're a good and dear friend also.
For another Monster Hunter Hype Night, dude. This is the second one. Such a cool experience to be able to see everything from this channel come full circle for another Monster Hunter Hype Night. Briarios, thank you so much. Great to have you.
And hey, guys,
Thank you.
let's smash.
I want to thank everybody for joining tonight for the live stream. It's been great to have you guys here for Monster Hunter Wilds Hype Night. Make sure you guys like the video. If you enjoyed what you saw here tonight, add your thoughts in the comments below. Again, big shout out to Hawk Every, Jaws, Sammy, and Briarios for joining me. And we're going to see you